In the golden age of the Cretaceous, a grand epoch utterly torn asunder by blinding velocity and ceaseless chasing, the most wondrous things upon the Earth were not the earth-shaking behemoths of massive scale. Rather, it was that speed demon of a titan that seemed to race eternally with the storms, each of its strides striking out with ultimate kinetic energy. Possessing a streamlined, slender frame, it held a breathtaking explosive power that left all carnivorous predators hopelessly outmatched. A true, undisputed prehistoric ostrich of the primordial plains. Tonight, by the gently flickering hearth fire, accompanied by this narrative that requires no effort to remember, let us wander into the true life of the Ornithomimus who loved to watch fireflies. Listen closely. In the chilling, silent air of midnight, there is none of that ear-piercing whistle of splitting air or the crisp cracks of dry branches stepped upon during its high-speed daytime dashes. There is only an incredibly faint, agonizingly slow rustle of blades of grass uncoiling across immense pauses. It is the creature slowly gathering its long runner limbs, built for sprinting, sinking its boundless dynamic energy entirely into the damp mire. This is the Ornithomimus who loved to watch fireflies, and in this ancient night where even the wind grows tender, it has commenced its nightly ritual of absolute stillness. Nestled deep within the thick fern meadow, using large glistening eyes that have shed all panic and alarm to become clear as pure water, it gazes serenely at the primeval fireflies swirling across the dark. This miraculous contrast, transforming ultimate motion into ultimate quietude, floats like a silent marine undercurrent, quietly flattening the tightness and anxieties of the entire jungle. The fateful fracture of its destiny occurred on a restless twilight when geothermal springs surged with anomalous fury, rendering the entire sky a blinding shroud of dark gold. The atmosphere was heavy with dry dust and the bitter, scorched aroma of ancient conifer forests desiccating under the intense, suffocating heat. Every living creature ran in wild desperation, scrambling for territory and survival. Within this narrow canyon, cracking continuously under the baked glare of a brutal sun, the firefly-watching Ornithomimus faced the most exhausted and bewildered moment of its existence. Its vitality had been compressed to its absolute limits by a daytime duel of high-stakes sprinting to evade the jaws of a tyrannosaurus, its delicate bones aching acutely under the immense physical overload. All around it, the grand migration torrent across the plains unleashed a thundering roar, with countless heavy footfalls stamping down in chaotic sequence, striking a frantic rhythm of death and destruction. As the very symbol of speed, its early life seemed to consume itself eternally in passive fleeing, either pursuing illusory insects or escaping rows of greedy predatory teeth. That mental spasm born of perpetual alert squeezed its spirit tightly, causing a persistent, throbbing ache to radiate deep within its streamlined skull. It could not fathom why life had to be an endless loop of flight and chase, or why every sprint executed with its entire soul left behind nothing but an infinite void and terror. Dragging its fluid frame stiff from high-strung tension, it finally amble-drifted into this quiet, low valley cradled gently by a crystal stream, and brought its steps to a halt. Refusing to follow its panicked kin charging blindly into the dark, it slowly inclined its slender neck, the dry irritation within its eyes melting away, bit by bit, under the murmuring caress of the flowing water. The absolute darkness arrived right on schedule like a vast, heavy blanket of black velvet, seamlessly locking away all panic and frantic movement from the forest floor. The firefly-watching Ornithomimus did not shiver in terror like other minute dinosaurs through the dark. It gracefully gathered its runner limbs and settled down flat with immense mildness. It anchored its downy, beautifully streamlined body securely upon this dry carpet of moss and ferns, its form perfectly hidden within the towering shadows of the prehistoric brush. A nocturnal chill began to weave through the woods, but its metabolic rate and its once thundering pulse slowed miraculously at this moment, sliding down toward the most tranquil threshold of life. It had no further need to guard against defensive signals from the air, for this low valley, sheltered completely by a tight fortress of sheer rock walls on either side, barred the wind and kept all perils from penetrating its peace. Just as it allowed its heavy eyelids to close for rest, an intensely tender, ethereal visual miracle suddenly sparked from the pitch-dark brush across the stream. 1, 2, 3, countless frail, soft ancient fireflies, emitting pastel yellow and emerald bioluminescent halos, quietly ascended from the damp soil. They lacked the stinging glare of the daytime sun and held none of the fury of distant volcanic ash clouds. They simply floated, carving soft, glowing lines through the dark with an agonizingly slow tempo that bordered on pure stillness. That pure luminescence spangled across its large, intelligent pupil like a pair of cool, tender hands, instantly pacifying the lingering tightness within its neural pathways. Reopening its eyes, not to scout for hidden threats, it gazed with quiet grace and deep presence at this deep realm completely spangled with microlights. Midnight thoroughly sealed the boundless Cretaceous woodland, the clouds scattering completely to unveil an ancient cosmic vault pristine and free from any impurity, resplendent with the swirling Milky Way. Yet, throughout this long night typically defined by lethal undercurrents and shifting perils, the firefly-watching Ornithomimus utilized its absolute stillness to forge a wondrous haven of comfort. It had no need for the massive iron plate armor of an ankylosaurus, nor did it require the monumental scale of a diplodocus. It dissolved all threat merely through its quietude, fusing organically with the dark. Moonlight cascaded through the dense layers of ginkgo leaves, dissolving into soft ribbons of silver that rested over its downy, fluid back profile, casting a remarkably noble air. Before its vision, thousands of glowing fireflies swirled along its slender neck, mistaking its stationary form for the branch of an ancient, peaceful tree, landing delicately over its dark scales. This supreme manifestation of non-violent microlight contrast did more than invite a long-lost drowsiness into its own mind. It silently comforted the frail, tiny mammals scurrying at the edges of primeval survival. A few small mammals, pursued into exhaustion by day and caked in mire, peeked their damp noses out from the cracks of hard tree bark with immense caution. Raising their bright, glistening eyes, they gazed in pure reverence at this grand sentinel nestled within the fern grass, drawing absolute security from its stable, unhurried respirations. Spurred by confidence, they emerged and slipped deep into the fold of its forelimbs, relaxed and gently open, resting beneath the faint fluorescence and its radiating warmth until they too closed their eyes one by one. The Titan faintly perceived the delicate pulse of these minute companions at its side, but it did not blink an eyelid. It simply maintained its eternal, slow cadence, continuing its silent vigil over the floating embers of light. The night had drifted into its deepest, most pure core, as icy crystalline beads of dew congealed upon the tips of the fern blades, refracting the faint starlight. The endless Cretaceous night daily seemed to modulate into a beautiful adagio that would never wake, and the firefly-watching Ornithomimus had now entered a profound, undisturbed slumber. Within this deep rest, those runner limbs that had sprinted like the wind by day achieved total, blissful release, every fiber and ligament uncoiling and restoring inch by inch under a wave of soothing ocean comfort. At the margins of its subconscious, the dark shadows of the volcanoes, the raw violence of the hunt, and the crushing pressures of survival evaporated entirely, leaving a boundless savanna bathed in a warm ocean of floating embers. In this dreamscape, it was unburdened by predators to evade, free from the necessity of defending its territory from crisis. It became as weightless as a single stray feather, floating effortlessly through the luminous mists. Its long neck rose and fell with hypnotic regularity against the dark sky, and with every deep breath it drew, a plume of pale, warm mist condensed into the cold air. These vapors scattered softly under the stars like a silk shroud falling over the mammals sleeping securely under its arm. The flow of time blurred entirely within its long rest. The passage of hundreds of millions of years before this timeless sitting was but a solitary, elegant turning of the stars across the sky. It had no need to harbor the greedy anxieties of the predators, nor did it worry over tomorrow's decay. Its mere existence was an ultimate reconciliation with the natural universe. This absolute quietude and restraint appeared utterly foreign to a brutal primeval world, yet it radiated an irresistible, sacred glow steeped in a tragic, fatalistic beauty. It stood like an ancient sculpture anchored at the end of time, using its breath and microlights as chisels to engrave the definitive meaning of peace across the endless wilderness night. Today, that Cretaceous world of frantic racing and clashing claws has long since hardened into dark rock layers deep within the earth through tens of millions of years of shifting seas and moving lands. The Ornithomimus that loved to watch fireflies, along with the primitive fluorescent entities that shared its summer nights, have turned together into silent, stone skeletons mounted in the depths of museums. Yet, the anchoring piece it uncovered within that freezing, endless night seems to pierce through the heavy strata, echoing softly by our ears tonight. Now, the night has grown exceedingly deep. The rush of traffic outside your window and the accumulated stress of the day have receded with the dark, leaving only this tranquil pocket of time belonging solely to you. Can you feel it too? That gentle luminescence drifting from the prehistoric valley, tinged with a delicate aroma of wildwood, gliding along your tired thoughts to smoothly pacify your tightly wound soul. In this world, you are under no obligation to sprint frantically to seize territory or prove your strength to anyone. You may, like that fluid, thick-feathered giant, let fall all your defenses in the quiet of the night. Let your consciousness follow its agonizingly slow tempo, blink by slow blink, listening to the lazy passage of time and the profound tenderness of the dark with a mechanical yet liberating relaxation. As the ancient curtain of starlight gently closes within your mind, and you listen to that steady respiration that has vibrated through the core of the earth for eons, your eyelids grow heavy, and your physical form becomes weightless. The ancient night is softly dissolving your lingering attachments and exhaustion, and the warm darkness folds around you like a vast velvet comforter, cradle holding you in a serene embrace. Sleep now, for the Ornithomimus has secured this ultimate primeval sanctuary for you with its boundless gentleness. Close your eyes with a quiet heart, and drift into that sweet dreamland where all anxiety fades away, leaving only pure, profound peace.